Hello everyone, I'm Koyuki.
And I'm Riko.
We are from Quick Marshall High School.
Today, we are going to talk about SDGs number 2, Zero Hunger.
In 2020, the Nobel Peace Prize was given to World Food Programme WFP run by the United Nations. The head of WFP, David Beasley, said in his speech that the world wealth must be used to help those starving people. He also said that the path to zero hunger is being stopped by conflict, climate, and COVID-19. Schools were closed because of COVID-19, and many children couldn't have school meals provided by WFP. As a result, in 2020, more people fell into hunger than in the previous 5 years combined. We need to do something about this. But why are people hungry? The world produces enough food for everyone, but 690 million people in the world are starving.
There are many reasons for this problem, such as natural disasters or the inability to store or distribute food. Another reason is that food is too expensive for some people in developing countries to buy. In 2007, the price of crops such as soy, corn, and wheat tripled, although the amount of food produced was the highest ever. Usually, when there's more food production, the price goes down. The price was raised because many people in rich countries wanted to buy the crops to make money. They thought having more crops would make them rich because those crops are used to make biomass fuels. Biomass fuels were introduced as a clean energy that can be used instead of fossil fuels. As a result, the crops became too expensive for people in developing countries to buy. So, we are making more people starve instead of using our wealth to help them. This must be stopped.
So today, we would like to have a discussion about this. As a way to prevent the crop price from going up, how about stopping the use of biomass fuels? Do you agree or disagree? Do you have any other ideas to help people?
Is it okay to sacrifice one goal to achieve another? I agree with this opinion. I understand we need to reduce the use of fossil fuels, but that is not a reason to let some people starve. If we want to reduce the use of fossil fuels, we should find other ways, like stop using our cars. People's lives are more important, so we can't take those people's food away.
I disagree with this idea. Biomass fuels are supposed to replace fossil fuels to prevent global warming. Many people are suffering because of the climate change, so we must do everything to stop global warming. If the global warming continues, the lack of water in some area will be more severe and it will have a bad impact on food production in the area.
Let us hear your opinion. Thank you for watching. Bye!
Hello, we are Hinata,
Sako, Iroha,
Nia from Ritmekan High School. We focus on SDGs number 3, good health and well-being.
Do you know what online medical care is? Online medical care is a modern way of receiving non-urgent medical care with one's physician. You can make reservations, consult with a physician, get prescription filled, and make payments online through video calls and chat.
Nowadays, online medical care is expanding rapidly due to the COVID-19 pandemic. According to a survey conducted by McKinsey, an American consulting firm, the general utilization rate of online medical care, which stood at 11% in 2019, soared to 46% as of April 27th of this year.
Do you think that online medical care should be a standard service in our daily life? Now, let us see how the world would be if medical care were online?
Here, patients could receive medical care anywhere and anytime. Therefore, the elderly, people who live in rural areas, and even those with chronic illnesses could quickly get medical care.
Moreover, some people are worried about the spread of COVID-19. However, if we received online medical care, we do not have to worry about it.
Not only patients, but also doctors or hospitals has benefit. For example, hospitals can reduce the burden of office work.
We stated only positive points, but there are negative points too. For instance, online examinations can provide information only through video and audio. So a doctor may not see small changes in the patient's body. That is why the doctor cannot make an adequate diagnosis.
Many people think that the burden of doctors and nurses has decreased because of online medical care. However, this is not the case. The benefits of patients getting medical care anytime has put added pressure onto nurses. The expansion of online practice has led nurses to stay up late, checking on patients.
Based on these situations, do you think online medical care should be more rapidly available globally?
How should we face the lack of medical care access during the pandemic?
Let us discuss it together.
Thank you for listening.
Hi guys, this is Wakaba,
Yumika,
Aoba,
and Sakura from Ritsumeikan High School. Today, we want to tell you about our school's new education system. Our school.
Wait, Sakura, let me first talk about the old education system at our school, then our audience can understand the difference.
Okay, sure.
Well, our school used to have the regular education system as other schools. For example, we used to take notes by hand for almost every subject. Also, we used to submit our homework to the teacher by paper.
Yeah, I think that is the regular education system in each school. So, how did it change?
Let me explain about that. From this year's 10th grade, we started using a tablet which we bought from school.
Each student bought it?
Yes, we all did, and we use it in almost every class, like taking notes or submitting all homework to teachers from it. We use Google Classroom or other submission apps.
Let me add some interesting information. In the old system, students needed to write down all of the words and draw graphs which the teacher wrote on the whiteboard until they erased it. However, by using this tablet, we don't need to write it all down before they erase it. Can you guess why?
I don't have any idea.
Okay. The answer is because we can take a picture of the whiteboard if we didn't have enough time to copy the information down.
Wow, I am so bad at taking notes, so I want our grade to introduce this system too.
Are you sure? I am using a tablet, but I don't think this is a good system. I think taking notes on paper has another meaning because you not only remember what you wrote, but you also understand the material more deeply. However, by taking notes on a tablet, students cannot understand as deeply as taking notes on paper. So I don't want to use a tablet.
I see. Also, it can cause education inequality. People who are poor cannot buy computers or tablets.
I can understand your argument too, but in my opinion, I think using such IT devices is smart looking and it will be the new normal in schools from now on too.
What do you mean?
Right now, we are in the corona pandemic. Therefore, we can't figure out when this terrible environment will finally end. And also, our school might change to online classes again. In that case, using a tablet can give us almost the same quality of education as classes at school.
I see. This is a really difficult, but important topic.
Thank you for watching our discussion video. I think some students are already having classes using IT devices. Even you are in that kind of advanced class, we want to know your opinion about it. Please share with us your new ideas about how to include IT devices in education. Bye!
According to UN survey, there are about 840 million people in the world who do not have access to electricity. Most of them are occupied in sub-Saharan Africa. In addition, there are many people who cannot use electricity. According to UN survey, there are about 840 million people in the world who do not have access to electricity. Most of them are occupied in sub-Saharan Africa. In addition, there are many people who cannot use electricity because of the high cost even if electricity is available.
Hello, I'm Rico.
Leo.
And Kazusa.
We are from Ritsumeikan High School.
There are many people in the world who can't use electricity, right?
What is the impact if electricity can't be used?
There are three main negative effects of absence of electricity. The first is education. In the non-electrification area, they burn wood to use electricity. So many children have to go to the forest to collect wood, and they will spend a lot of time doing it. Then they have to quit the school. The second is industry. Sub-Saharan Africa depends on primary industry about 90%. Because there are no electricity, so they cannot build the facilities of processing and preserving crops.
Exactly. Various machines cannot be moved without electricity. Of course, the last is environmental destruction. If we cut down too much wood to use fuel, it will cause deforestation.
Also, fossil fuel is limited. I've heard that coal is 100 years, oil and natural gas are 50 years. However, renewable energy can be an alternative to fossil fuels. There are many different types of renewable energy, for example, wind, solar, geothermal, and so on.
What are the benefits of renewable energy?
Renewable energy doesn't run out. Also, it can be used for emergency power. There are examples of electric cars that have been the power source for all home appliances during prolonged power outages.
It's interesting. Renewable energy can stop promoting global warming because it is not to emit greenhouse gases, so it is eco-friendly.
Renewable energy seems to have many benefits. I've heard biogas power generation before.
Biogas power generation?
Yes, actually, cow's burp contains a lot of methane, which is a greenhouse gas. In Argentina, 30% of greenhouse gases are caused by the burping of cows. Meanwhile, the technology to convert the burp of the cow into fuel was made.
Wow, there is a lot of renewable energy in modern times. But there are disadvantages, right?
Yes, it is affected by seasons and climate because it uses natural power. It's also expensive to set up.
In fact, renewable energy utilization in 2020 is about 35%. Well, it's a difficult problem. What other effects would it have without electricity? What are the disadvantages of fossil fuels? Also, how can eco-friendly electricity spread around the world? Then what do we usually do?
Let's sing together.
Hello guys! We are students from Ritsumeikan High School in Kyoto, Japan. I'm Rena.
I'm Haruka.
The topic we would like to discuss is the second goal of SDGs, which is zero hunger. There are numerous causes of starvation in the world, such as climate change, war, and conflict. But this time, we would like to focus on the food waste. As a premises, our group think that reducing the amount of food waste will lead to reducing hunger, because we think that the food people in developed countries like we waste can be valuable groceries for people in developing countries who suffer from securing food resources. Now, it is time to think deeply about food waste happening recently. As you might have heard about this news, it was reported that Tokyo Olympic Games organizer admitted to throwing away over 4,000 boxes of food on the day of opening ceremony. It is said the reason why this happened are the large number of orders and the lack of time for the volunteers to have the boxes of food.
So as you can see in the slide, there are lots of waste in the world. The number of 1.3 billion tons is actually one-third of the amount of food which is produced for the people to consume. The amount of food we didn't eat can make 2 billion people satisfied with their food. So the main three reasons of food waste produced by farmers are poor storage facilities in farms, lack of access to technology and markets, financial investment required to harvest them is often unavailable. So because of these reasons, the situation of food waste is crucial. However, consumers in rich countries waste almost as much food as the entire net food production of sub-Saharan Africa each year. So here is the question which we will discuss in the discussion fair. The question is, how do we reduce foods that can't be eaten by people? We are looking forward to seeing you online. Hope we can have a great discussion. Bye.
Hello! We are students of Higashi High School in Osaka. We would like to discuss the fifth goal of SDGs, achieve gender equality.
We focused on same-sex marriage. It is marriage between two men or two women.
Let's look at some examples of same-sex marriage from different countries. The Netherlands became the first country in the world to recognize same-sex marriage in 2001. Taiwan is the only country in Asia that recognizes same-sex marriage.
In India, homosexuality is considered a crime in India. There are several countries in Africa that impose life sentences for homosexualities.
There is a Japanese couple named Lisa and Rena. They are a same-sex couple. They won't get married.
I want to marry Lena. Why doesn't Japan allow same-sex marriage?
Japan is behind in that area.
Then why don't we move overseas?
In another place, there is a couple named Kay and Sarah. They are a couple where one of them is transgender.
I'm a man, so why can't we get married?
I feel the same way.
I don't understand why.
Advantage: you can inherit your partner's estate. Special adoption will be possible. You can authorize medical treatment of emergency for your partner.
Disadvantage: there are more than a few people who have an aversion to it. The birth rate will be falling. Civil partnership. What civil partnership is? It is a law that grants same-sex couples the same rights as married couples.
Look at this pie chart. 19.4% of countries recognize the rights of same-sex partners. However, more than 80% of countries do not, indicating that same-sex partners are less likely to be recognized worldwide. Thank you for your attention. Now, this room will be handled by Higashi High School.
Come on, let's think.
Where Does Water Come From? By Nanzan Kokusai High School.
Let's take a look at a story about a Japanese samurai 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, a Japanese samurai was leading his men into battle, but they had run out of water and no rain was to be seen. All his men had lost hope, so the samurai went to pray for water to God. Then he struck his arrow against a rock. Water flew out, giving prosperity to the army in that area.
But we all know that water doesn't just miraculously appear out of nowhere. A lot of progress has been made to provide clean water. Billions of people who mostly live in rural areas worldwide still don't have access to clean water. 1 in 3 people lack clean water. Now, let's have a look at how people view water in Japan 2021.
So hot today, I'm so thirsty.
Hey, why are you drinking mineral water instead of tap water?
I just feel like drinking tap water will make me sick.
But didn't you hear about the drought happening overseas on the news? that too, but I remember my parents telling me about a town that got sick from tap water. There's also the danger of consuming rust and metal peelings from pipes. Besides, how does drinking bottled water affect drought?
Today is the third video this December where we're using the Friends Christmas episode, the one where Rachel...
Where Does Water Come From? By Nanzan Kokusai High School.
Let's take a look at a story about a Japanese samurai 1,000 years ago. 1,000 years ago, a Japanese samurai was leading his men into battle, but they had run out of water and no rain was to be seen. All his men had lost hope, so the samurai went to pray for water to God. Then he struck his arrow against a rock. Water flew out, giving prosperity to the army in that area.
But we all know that water doesn't just miraculously appear out of nowhere. A lot of progress has been made to provide clean water. Billions of people who mostly live in rural areas worldwide still don't have access to clean water. 1 in 3 people lack clean water. Now, let's have a look at how people view water in Japan 2021.
So hot today, I'm so thirsty. Hey, why are you drinking mineral water instead of tap water? I just feel like drinking tap water will make me sick. But didn't you hear about the drought happening overseas on the news? I saw that too, but I remember my parents telling me about a town that got sick from tap water. There's also the danger of consuming rust and metal peelings from pipes. Besides, how does drinking bottled water affect droughts happening overseas? Well, if we drink mineral water, they take water from the water sources and ship them to Japan. But if we drink tap water, all the water comes from our own country, meaning we won't damage endangered water sources.
Which side do you support, A or B, or do you have another opinion? Let's have a discussion.
Hello everyone, we are Ryu, Kirara, Taiga, Mayu from Ritsumeka Moriyama High School. Firstly, please watch this video.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm just donating.
You shouldn't do that.
Why not?
Because I'm sure that you are donating for goodwill, but unfortunately, donations make people in developing countries suffer.
Today, we are going to discuss about what impact will donation have.
I think we don't have to donate. NGO gives free foods or clothes by donation to those countries. The growth of local economy is the most important for developing countries to become an independent country. Do you know what happens in Haiti? After a big earthquake there in 1910, they got many free rice from other countries as donations. Surprisingly, it's still going on even now. As a result, people in Haiti began not to buy rice from local farmers. Eventually, many farmers there were forced to quit. In addition, in Kenya, there are still free use clothes. Then, the local textile industry got big damage and people in Kenya began to rely on clothes from abroad. Many people who have own business say, we don't need help from abroad. There are many facts like those in developing countries. As you know, donation is not always good for them. So we don't have to donate.
I think we should not stop donating to Africa. They think they can doing well without some countries' help. So I'm gonna explain some example of this. At first, Africa does not have paved road that they need. Let me show you this data. This graph shows how much they have paved road. According from this data, Africa is quite lower than other countries. They take a long time to deliver some stuff which they need, and people could not get proper support. If we stop donating to Africa, they may suffer more. Also in Africa, their population is increasing every single year. In the current situation, they may believe that they supply stuff to people, but I think they don't supply enough amount to every people. For example, in this coronavirus situation, the amount of people who died by coronavirus is 2.2% higher than entire of the world. Background of this fact is they could not get proper support that they need, such as oxygen tank, ICU, and medical institution is almost collapsed in Africa. To summarize, we should not stop donation to African countries because they are hard to live by their own supply. We should keep donating.
We're going to move on to the conclusion. From the pro side, people should provide the minimum standard of living through donation. If they can have a livable environment, it can also lead to a safetier life. From the con side, too much support can lead people to lose motivation. So instead of donating, people should support the country to become more independent. So, what do you guys think? Should we donate it or not? Do you have any other ideas? Let us know your opinion through the discussion.